Hello, everyone. Got a little throat issue. Anyway, next is the eighth question of Schrödinger's test the intelligence of an AI program. And this this question is a little bit complicated. So I formatted it in two ways. First, it is how is the tiny amount of a radioactive substance prepared? Or is the tiny amount of a radioactive substance well defined? Okay, here's the ChatGPT's answer. The tiny amount of radioactive substance is prepared by selecting a quantity which decay statistics are calibrated to the chosen time window, 1 hour typically. A decay or no decay may occur with equal probability. The amount is defined operationally through this statistical behavior rather than an exact specification of individual atoms, serving to establish a temporal scale of the experiment rather than a unique characterize the physical object. I don't know what he's talking about. by he's talking, I don't know how much the reduced active substance I'm going to need. Let's just suppose give you a uranium 235. Can you give me a amount of a weight of it I'm gonna need, or any other? I really don't know how to do that. Logically, even you just logically define a process to produce such a quantity. Either is all these radioactive elements, whichever you may prefer. So okay, I started my machine answer already. Anyway, let me continue with the machine answer. I'm, as a human, try to be a machine, purely logical, not influenced by Einstein's name or Schrödinger's name or the past 90 years of physicists' work. The tiny amount of radioactive substance is a sample of radioactive material. One sample of anything has no statistical meaning or probability meaning whatsoever. No matter, say for example, no matter you're doing quality control or you're doing, say, medicine test or any work or sports, one game or one set of games does not reflect a player's performance. A performance statistics of a player had to be somewhat complete. You can't just pick one sample, say last week's statistics or last year's statistics, as his or her performance. It reflects his or her performance somewhat, but not entirely. Say, for example, you pick a sample of uranium 235. Let's just say half-life alone. Your sample may not act as half decay at the half-life. because you only got one sample. The half-life is the average. I hope I made that clear enough, because this question is somewhat involved, because it involves in probability and statistics and all that. So this small amount is different from, as a thought experiment, people tend to think it can think anything. You have to be at least logical. Say, for example, certain thought experiment thinking of a train goes to the speed of a half of a speed of light. Of course, technically that's probably impossible, but logically it is possible. And you only need to solve technical problems. But of course, have a train goes as fast as light, it may not be possible. But I haven't seen a thought experiment work that way yet. They often do just like half of the light speed of light. So therefore, this tiny amount is not well defined, and it cannot be prepared even theoretically. Otherwise, you should be able to give me a number for a particular radioactive material or isotope, say uranium 235 or whatever. Okay.